Hi Pisces! Welcome to your September 2016 love reading. I was just humming the song that goes along with the Seven of Swords. Remember that song? Why don't we steal away into the night? I know it ain't right. And that reminded me of that card. Okay, so that first card is the overall energy, the Seven of Swords, which relates to, in some cases, it can be someone who's done this to you, which is, it could be outright theft, but in love situations, it's usually something to do with the person having ulterior motives for being with you, and in other words, using you. But it could also be, I think by extension, we could also talk about anybody who's doing something behind your back. So it could be cheating, I feel, infidelity. And this could be on your end of things. And, when I get more into the past position, it might point to one direction or the other, but that's just the initial impression. Sometimes it can mean that you're just going off and doing your own thing. Like maybe you were with somebody and now you are by yourself and you're not in a couplehood, or if that's a word. You're going it alone. And because it's a swords card, it's more of a mental energy, and it's more detached. It's not emotional. So if you are going it alone, it's not something that you feel bad about. In the past position, though, we get two cups cards. So there definitely was, and this has to do with a new love, with the Ace of Cups, with the Six of Cups. Now, the new love could be somebody from your past. It could be somebody from your childhood, your adolescence, who came back into your life. Now remember, this is for September, and we are having a Mercury retrograde. So it could be that, oh yeah, Pisces, and I just thought of something. Virgo is your 7th house. So, for the first few weeks of the month, that house will be featured. There's going to actually be a new moon there on the 1st of September. So that might be, whenever you happen to see this, that might be the new love, or it could be something that happened actually in August. But with the Six of Cups, there's a sense of nostalgia surrounding this. So sometimes I do think of like childhood sweethearts, high school sweethearts, or sometimes the Six of Cups relates to children. So it could be a situation where it might even have to do with giving birth too, the Ace of Cups. Because this could be a new person that you love in this world. Let me try to see if I can get this upright more. I hope it's not tilted. It's tilted where I am. Oh well. But anyway, whatever happens related to this person, I mean, these are two very positive emotional cards. So I don't see anything like negative happening. What could, I just thought of something. It might be you. You might be kind of on the down low because you have reconnected with somebody from your past. Maybe it was somebody you never had a relationship before with, but it was, someone you knew from the old neighborhood, or, what have you. It could relate to water sign individuals. So it could relate to either a Cancer or, well, you're a Pisces, so it could be a fellow Pisces person if that ever happens, or a Scorpio. That could definitely happen too. But there's a lot of emotion. Oh my gosh, and I just realized even for the current, that's supposed to be for the recent past, because now for this time period, along with that overall energy of the Seven of Swords, we get the Queen of Cups and the Eight of Cups. So, given the cards so far, it seems to me that maybe some of you, decided to leave a person. Maybe that person was cheating on you and you knew it. The Queen of Cups is a psychic energy. And so whether you're a man or a woman, even though it's a very feminine energy, it could be a man who is sensing something. It could be a woman who is sensing that her husband is cheating. And with the Eight of Cups, it's almost like, okay, I've had it. This is enough. Like maybe you've endured the final insult and you're just done. Because when I talk about these past positions, I'm not saying that because before I saw the current cards, and I was just looking at it in terms of those past cards, I thought, oh my gosh, there is a new love, and you might, be sneaking around because you're still married or something like that, and you've kind of reunited with somebody from your past. But when I see the Queen of Cups, I usually think of somebody who had to be the one to figure out what was going on. So I do feel like you probably were the one likely who was cheated on. And maybe because you felt like you had somewhere to go. You had this situation waiting for you. Maybe your partner's infidelity or whatever it is that goes along with the Seven of Swords. That's kind of a related thing. Maybe that was something that in the past you tolerated, but you hooked up with somebody who you knew way back when, and now you decided, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. And so when I see things like that, I think, well, my best case scenario would be, even if you meet somebody who's almost like a lifeline in a way, because it's kind of like what do they call those? I was going to say like a lifesaver, but something like a lifeboat to bring you from your current bad situation into a new reality. And that's true. I think that these kinds of relationships don't just happen randomly. I think they happen when you need them to happen. The only thing is that if you go from one relationship to the other, then it's harder to really process what happened. And so I always think to myself, you don't want to be a relationship addict where you always have to have a relationship and you can never be alone, because that's not, I think that it's better to, even if you have met somebody new, is to have that alone time so that you can just really listen to yourself, not having to listen to anybody else's opinion on your life. And so maybe you're not moving in with somebody. Maybe you're just starting a relationship with them. Maybe you're doing it very slowly. But definitely I feel like you have this out in a way, whereas maybe before you didn't. Maybe before you felt like you were trapped in your life. And this person came along and is symbolizing this new direction for you. I hope that this is, true for at least some of you. I realize this is a general reading, but, when I go off on these tangents, sometimes I think, oh boy, I wonder how many people are going to resonate with this. So the higher message in all of this is the Hierophant. This is one of those situations where it can relate specifically to someone who is seeing things from a higher perspective, which is the spiritual card, that this kind of papal card, I think it's related to the Pope, is kind of symbolizing is something more than just the everyday events of your life. Is that you're seeing that everything is divine. Even, when you're mopping the floor. And actually, when people have their awakenings, as they call them, sometimes they go into this bliss state where they can be doing the most mundane things and they're in absolute ecstasy. So when it comes to looking at relationships, you may be adopting something that is much more of a spiritual position rather than, I want to have a lover, I want to have a partner, I want to have a father for my child or a mother for my child. I want I want these things that are really on the practical level, but it's more about how it nourishes your soul, or conversely, how someone can, absolutely drain your soul, which, obviously they can't, but they can certainly drain your energy. And they can, really create this negative environment. So you may be realizing how everything affects you vibrationally, especially as a Pisces, that you are a very sensitive sign. And the Queen of Cups is really your card, I think, in a lot of ways. So you have to have an environment that's supportive, even more so than the average person. But we all need that. We all should, make that a top priority, obviously. What crosses you is the Page of Swords. And because I saw that the overall energy is a swords, this could be an air sign that's causing all the problems. This could be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius individual, or somebody who has the air element very prominent in their chart. And you would know this even if you never saw their chart by the way that they relate to life. If they tend to be very intellectual and detached, but there's a word I'm looking for, that is more analytical than they are emotional, then that type of person could be creating problems for you. Because he is a page, he is very immature, probably emotionally, because he is kind of resting on his laurels intellectually, but he may be very shallow emotionally, and he may not really be in touch with his feelings. He may be terrified of what he feels. So it's something that you have to watch out for if this person is still trying to be in your life. Maybe you did leave him, as the Eight of Cups in the top right suggests, but maybe you are thinking of taking that person back. Maybe you're feeling guilty. He's trying to manipulate you. Or maybe you are married to this person and it would be very complicated. Maybe you have children. There are all kinds of possibilities, but it's just showing that this person is, kind of stopping you from doing what you want to do. They can be very defensive types of individuals, and they may lash out emotionally when they feel threatened. This is part of their immaturity, emotional immaturity. What favors you during this time is Justice card. I really do, when I do love readings, I always think of divorce court, really, honestly. So some of you might have been, reluctant to file for divorce. Maybe, you have a very toxic relationship and you've just hung on because you just don't want to deal with it. But you might have to. It might, in order for you to kind of really take advantage of new love, you might have to just bite the bullet and make the changes that are necessary. And you may feel like that will be too disruptive, especially if you have children. So you may say, no, I can't do that now. And obviously only you can decide when the right time is to make major changes in your life. But the only thing I will say is that if you're prolonging the inevitable, then you're going to have to do it. So now is as good a time as any. If it is. I mean, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's just not advised. And I don't, know individual situations. So I would never encourage somebody to do something that is, going to be totally a threat to your everyday existence. But if all your ducks are in a row and you could do it and you just kind of have been dragging your feet, you might want to think differently. And this might be a sign that you should do that. Now, the Justice card can just simply mean that if somebody has done you wrong in some way and you're feeling very put out about it, then the answer is to let cause and effect take over. If you want to call karma that. Don't spend your time trying to, think of ways to get that person back. Not that you necessarily would, but even just on the emotional level, don't allow that person's misdeeds against you to poison the well of your own daily life. I'm not even saying that you have to forgive the person yet, but just be in that state of consciousness where you're committed to your happiness and that you're not going to, and part of that is not repeating over and over again to other people your tale of woe so that you can get sympathy. If somebody asks why you're not with that person, then you can certainly say, I left him or what have you, but you don't have to get into the dramatics of it. And sometimes it's kind of fun, I guess, to have people give you their sympathy, and they will anyway. You don't have to, go after it. And, pardon me, I sometimes get, accused of being judgmental or what have you, maybe giving my own little opinions on things. Pardon me for doing so. But some Pisces, maybe even a good portion of Pisces, like to kind of sometimes play the victim. Not everyone is going to be like this, but this is part of one of the traits that Pisces is known for, which is martyrdom. And the thing about Pisces is it's such a compassionate sign that what I tell Pisces is that same compassion that you have for other people, have it for yourself too. You're a person too. So, never sacrifice for somebody else's happiness if yours will be under great threat. Unless it isn't a sacrifice to you. Because a sacrifice to me implies something that you really are going to just have to do without so many things in order to give it to somebody else. But if it's something that comes naturally to you and it's not something you even have to think about or agonize over, then it's really not a sacrifice. It's just part of who you are, to give and to give selflessly, and that's a beautiful thing. But give to yourself as well. Pamper yourself, honor yourself. Don't allow other people to dishonor you, and you'll be fine. But the way to, deal with that isn't to seek revenge either, which is not a typical Piscean trait. So I just say that because the Justice card, sometimes people try to, seek their own justice instead of allowing the universe to do its thing. And the advice is the Death card. So in this particular situation, and knowing that we have, this is interesting, we do have a lunar eclipse in your sign, okay? So that is death of the old. And this is happening on the 16th of September. So I think it's around 25 Pisces, something like that. So those of you who are born towards the end of the sign, sun or around 25 degrees of Pisces may feel it the most in terms of it being a part of your sense of self. Maybe you're going to make a great break, a great shift in that, and, you know, have a new beginning. For the rest of you, this will be, if you're born, let me clarify this. If you are born, I would say around the, it's funny because, you know, yeah, it would be like if you're born around, I would say it would be around the 17th, no, it could be around the 15th of March. This might be, I don't have my ephemeris in front of me, but this might be, and it changes year to year. So I'm not sure, but this could be maybe even the 14th. Okay, guys, let me just clarify, because I did look it up just to kind of get an idea of the degrees for the sun, and also to see exactly what degrees this full moon is. So the full moon on the 16th of September is going to be at 24 degrees of Pisces. If you're born at 25 to 29 degrees of Pisces, this full moon is actually going to fall in your 12th house, which is Pisces' natural house. So it's kind of the woo house. It deals with past lives. It could deal with deeply buried psychological issues. Now, this is not just a full moon. This is actually a lunar eclipse. And so I just want to clarify that. So it is a very powerful, and actually a very powerful full moon. And so that can really bring things to a head, bring things to an ending, or give you some kind of an insight in your own psyche, into your own psyche. Maybe something that you've kind of not looked at, you will. And so that can be quite a revelation. But for the rest of you, this can be more of a situation of kind of out with the old, in with the new. And so you might feel a sense of rebirth. Yes, full moons can be endings, but endings always bring beginnings. You can't have an ending and there not being a beginning right, you know, after it, right? So it's not the same as the solar eclipse, which is bringing in new opportunities or experiences. It's more like a culmination of something that has been going on. And of course, we did have a total solar eclipse in Pisces on March 8th. So this might be kind of the finale of that eclipse, like it's telling the rest of the story. So if something happened back in March, perhaps it will kind of come to a close at this time, or you will gain more clarity, something along those lines. Okay? And the same if your sun sign is around 14 degrees, then it will probably be an exact conjunction. But if you're born after the 14th around, and I'm being very imprecise in that, you'd have to know what your exact sun degree is in degree in Pisces. But approximately, you know, from the 15th to the 20th, or whenever Pisces ends for your particular year, it will fall in your 12th house. So just to let you know about that, okay? Okay. So in any case, the Death card is all about transition. And it is like an eclipse, a lunar eclipse, because it's change that comes in, endings that occur that are irrevocable, that you can't do anything about, you can't change. Okay? And some people find that very scary to contemplate. I think it's really cool because sometimes it's hard to surrender, isn't it? Sometimes we want to fight change or fight whatever's happening to us. And when you have an event like that, that is so overwhelmingly out of your control, you don't have to really do much of any heavy lifting, do you? So it's just a matter of not clinging to whatever it is in your world, and just being willing to, be at the, I was going to say be at the mercy of the universe, but that sounds bad. It doesn't sound very positive. I mean, you must be willing to go with the punches and be flexible with whatever happens and be okay with it. But in this particular reading, I do sense with that Eight of Cups that some of you will end maybe a long-term relationship. And it's not going to be something that you necessarily have to agonize over, because it's probably been over for a long time, but for the shouting. And the outcome, another major arcana card, the Judgment card. This is a card. Now, if you look at this, it seems like a card of success, doesn't it? So that people are celebrating. But it is kind of like what you sow, you shall reap. But this is kind of like what they have sown, they shall reap. The Judgment, the Justice card. These cards are showing that you will, if you have felt wronged, that you will be vindicated, or you will be compensated in some way. And it may not be in the way that you think it should be, but it's in a way that the universe operates. And the Judgment card is also about rebirth, purification. So it is about coming through the fire, and there is fire there. And, based upon what I see with the other cards, that you are seeing things in a much more philosophical or spiritual way, and that's giving you the comfort you need to get through these changes. And it probably always has for you. I think when I think of all the signs, I think Pisces is the most spiritual. But sometimes there are Pisces out there who make a point of probably being, atheists, because they are trying to kind of counter their own spirituality for whatever reason. So it's not that every single last one of you is going to overtly be a spiritual person, but there probably is going to be at least one area that you act in a way that is less about, logic and more about intuition. And I think that will serve you very well in the month of September, as the Queen of Cups represents. Now, it may tell you to leave, but if you leave, you may have temporary, up in the air types of situation in life, but the end result might be really great. So, in any case, Pisces, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, it is a general reading. Hopefully at least a few of the cards resonated. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great September. Bye.